Welcome back, everyone. It is March 23rd, 2026. It's Monday. It's about 10:30, 10:24 Eastern Time. And yeah, let's jump in. There's some wild stuff that's happening in these charts. And I actually want to go over and explain what's happening, like what I see, where we are. Okay, so last we left off, we were over in, I believe we were over in this section. We were kind of struggling right over here. Now, yeah, this is really small. I'm sorry. Let me zoom in so we can kind of get into this. So we had this. We broke out of this area right over here. Well, let me use a different pen. We broke out of this area over here and we were starting to come back over. And what I was saying is that I was looking for it to come and hit this trend line, which it did. And it actually broke the trend line through the weekend. So we've got, altogether, we've got 1, 2, 3. I'm not really going to include this one over here, right? And we've got 4 that's on this line right now. And if you look closely, we've got this hump here. We've got another one that's going above. We've got this one. And now we've got this. It looks like it's the fourth one. Okay. So we don't know where this one's going just yet, but it's something to take note of because this trend line right here has a characteristics to it. And the characteristic usually is 1, 2, 3, break, right? So it usually does that. And we've got 1, 2, 3, and it broke. But this move right over here is quite interesting. Okay, so let's dive into what exactly is happening in this move. First, before we go any further, we are still in the range. I know it's getting tired of hearing all this range talk, right? We're still in this range, and yeah, we haven't really budged. We do have this triangle pattern that is forming, right? And we've got this fake out over here that happened, and yeah, so it's getting close to resolving. Let's just say that. It's getting very close to resolving. We'll either go up or we'll go down. But for those of you that actually took a long in this section, congratulations. I bow to you. Good job, right? Now, I hope you've taken profit at this point because this move right here is very, very interesting. First of all, let me explain what happened during this move. What we're going to do is we're going to go down to a lower time frame here, okay? And as you can see, there is this huge candle right here on the 15-minute. Okay, so let's just take a look at this candle right over here. This is the 15-minute candle, okay? So pretty strong 15-minute candle. But I'm going to go down even further. I'm going to go down to the 5-minute candle. This is now the 5-minute candle, okay? So that's a pretty big move in a short amount of time. Let me stretch this from here to over here. That's almost a 4% move in one candle. But wait, there's more. If I go down to the 1-minute chart, look at that candle. It broke off into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 candles right over here. Now, what happened right over here? Between 7 o'clock and I believe it's 7:30, there was a move that happened. Now, I know that's at 7:15, but take a look at this. This is really, really interesting. First of all, this is at 7:05, okay? Let's mark this, 7:05. That candle wicked at 7:05. That candle started the move. So I'm going to go to the 5-minute candle for just so that we can see this. So again, I'm going to double check it. 7:05. That's what the time is right over here. 7:05. In fact, I'm going to just leave this. I'm going to leave that time there. Okay? Now, I want to go take a look over at Ethereum. Now, look at Ethereum's move right over here. We are still on the 5-minute chart. So if I bring my candle, if I bring my thing all the way back, look at that, 7:05. Wow, isn't that interesting? At 7:05, both Ethereum and Bitcoin took off. So I'm going to put this as BTC. I'm going to put this as ETH right here. They both took off. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. First of all, here is the S&P 500. Now, the S&P 500, you can see there's a gap here. The reason why there's a gap right here is because between here and here, the market is off. But there actually is a off-hours chart, and it is the cash CFT, where you can actually see what happened during the time that it was off. And right over here, this was the candle that was made on the S&P 500. Let's check the time. I just erased that thing. Oh, wow, 7:05. So at 7:05, it was the S&P. 7:05, it was BTC. 705. It was ETH. So, what happened? How is that even possible? Oh, it gets even better. Let's go over to oil. Look at that candle drop on oil. So, let's take a look at what the time was on here. Oh, were you surprised? It was 7:05. Now, 7:05 oil. Now, I'm on the 5-minute chart. This is a pretty big move for a 5-minute candle on the stock market, especially, look at this. It was almost a 16 to 17% drop in that short amount of time, in basically a minute. If I go to the minute chart, you're obviously going to see that. So let me do it so that we can see. So you see the proof's in the pudding, right? Look at that. That's a pretty crazy move. So what happened that it would move like that so fast? Well, let's take a look over here. At 7:05, the market moved. And if you could see right here, at 7:23, there was a post made on Truth Social about postponing any strikes to Iran. 7:23. But look at this. 7:05. This is what news plays look like. Okay? Let me get rid of this and let's go back to this chart here and let's take a look at exactly how this works. So, someone got in here. Now, good for them. They seem to have had that news way before the chart even started to move. And that's a pretty solid move before any announcement on social media. Now, the way news usually works is, let me jump back over to Bitcoin. The way news works is this. It's only temporary. Whatever the news is, it's only temporary. And I've made videos before about news plays where it goes in either direction and then it settles out back in the mean, right? So that means that when the news happens, if it's bullish news, it's going to pop up and then it's going to reverse down and it's going to work its way back over to the mean, okay? Now, sometimes news does something a little bit different, but this is usually the pattern. If it was something that it wasn't bullish, for example, it would go down and then it would work its way back up and then it would come back to the mean. That's the way it works. Now, regardless of why the chart moved news-wise, it's very important that you understand that this is temporary. It is a temporary move driving the chart up. Did we stop the war? Well, he used the word postpone. And that's important for you to grasp. Words matter, and especially for the market and everything like that. When there's news that is put out, usually what happens is the algorithm kicks on. That's what happens. Okay, there is absolutely no way that everyone can hit the button at 7:05 on the dot in every single chart possible. These are bots. These are the algorithm. And sure, it's not fair. Okay, it's absolutely not fair. It's kind of like the cheap move in a video game or anything like that you can't get out of. But you have to learn how to play these charts. This is not a FOMO move. Anyone who got in or is getting in right now because of this news, well, guess what? If you don't understand that news usually reverses back and it's only a temporary move, well, you'll either get caught up here, which is up here, or you'll get caught down here, regardless of what. So you have to look at this as okay, this is kind of temporary for a moment, right? And I'm not going to FOMO in until I see that the chart settles out. There's no reason why you have to jump into these charts because you see a move like this. Understand this. All of these bots got in, okay? And some of them have sold at this point, and they're probably driving the price back up. Anyone who's buying at this point anywhere over here is actually on top of these bots. Just like in my video that I made before about inefficient candles. If this group, whoever did this right over here, sells, well, guess what? It's going to take everybody with them, and then it's going to start to cascade. And that's why usually the news plays look like that, okay? It's important. What you have to do in these charts is you have to be smart. That's what you have to be. You have to think beyond what you're seeing at that exact moment. Now, I shorted this area. Why would I short at this point? Well, there's resistance right here. Right here, there's resistance. You can see it. You've got 3 candles that are clicking. So at this red mark, I shorted. And I've taken profit at this point. Now, if this breaks up even further, okay, because we're on this trend line right over here, and it is now kind of like working its way up. Well, again, I'm not really worried about it. I took profit. I can close my trade and I still made money. It was momentary. It was just an opportunity that I saw. But the way that news usually works, whether it's now or later, the move reverses. We're still in a bear market. Nothing's changed about that. We're still in a range. Nothing has changed about that. So you have to look at everything like, okay, where's the opportunity that comes in here? Is there an opportunity? Can I exploit it? What can I do? Right? So if you look over at Bitcoin, without knowing anything that's going on, political, non-political news, non-news, it doesn't really matter. Where are we? We are at the top here of where resistance was altogether. So could it be possible that this fast move that happened in a 5-minute mark is going to reverse? Yeah, there's a really great possibility it's going to do that. And especially the fact that we are at the top of the range. So you have to look at it like, okay, did it change my plans? No, my plans are still down below here. Also, if we come down over here or vice versa. But here's the thing that I am seeing. Okay, what I am seeing is that we've got this move right over here. And if this reverses and hits this trend line one more time, then I think we're dropping down over here. That's what I think. Because now we are just riding this. And of course, we're getting to the apex. It could be possible that it bounces up there. But again, I've got plans for that. This is the area of my next short area. I am in a long over here, and I did buy spot over here. And I'm looking to buy more spot. My plans have not changed at all. Just because there was a tweet that was made out that said, hey, this is news-driven thing, it makes me feel even more that it's fake. Now, look at all of this right over here. Whoever shorted right here at 705 made some money. And they will close their short. It's only momentary. And this will find its way back over here, just like it started. That's where the mean is. Okay? And that goes for every single one of these charts. Every single one of these charts are going to do exactly the same thing because they are all connected. Every single one of them are connected. Look at this move on the NAS. Let's go take a look. Let's take a look. Oh, what do you know? This says 7 o'clock. Let me go down to a shorter time frame. Oh, 7:05. Really? We clicked the buy button on there that quick? Everyone was just like, I mean, honestly, I just woke up. At 7:05, I just woke up. There was no time for me to think about anything. But this move was so fast and there was so much money to move this chart that, again, you can't get stuck in the FOMO. You can't. This will eventually come down. And one of the clues that you've got without any news-driven anything is the speed of it moving up. But also, look, this is a fair value gap in the S&P 500. This is a fair value gap. This needs to be filled. This needs to be filled with a candle. Look what it's doing. I mean, let's go to a bigger time frame here and take a look at exactly what's happening. Like, what is the resistance mark on here? Is there a resistance mark? Like, what's going on? Find it. Find it. Find the connecting candles. Find them. Don't force it. Find them. There's a gap there. So here we are right over here. So I've got connection, connect, tapping right there. Looks like it rejected over here. Look where the candle closed on the 12-hour. Look where the candle closed over here, right? So this line is valid. Will it come back down and touch this line? Most likely, yeah. But also, like, it can come back over here and tap this line down below. So this is a really good example of news plays, okay, that are happening in the chart. Again, I can't help but stress that these charts are being moved by algorithms, and those algorithms are much faster than you. Control yourself from clicking the buy button when you see large candles, because really the best place for you to probably buy would be down here, if anything. If it comes back over here and finds some support and works its way back up, then great. But more importantly, like, it would be awesome if it came down here. We will watch this zone now, and we'll see exactly what's happening. What I suspect is that this move, this great move that it did in a 5-minute, 1-minute candle, is going to reverse. It is an inefficient trade. It's just a moment. That's all it is. It's a moment. And if you bought right over here, then I hope you have taken profit at this point, because that was a really good trade. Okay. And I'm not saying close your trade out. I'm saying take profit. And if it ends up breaking up higher, good for you. Congratulations. If it comes down lower, close your trade out. Close it. Close it out. Be satisfied with the profit that you took over here. All right. Anyway. All right, guys. I hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon. Bye.